Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are watching from. Welcome to my channel. I am Okocha Happy Marcel. This is the National Chairman of the Labour Party, Comrade Julius Abore. We put a question before him to explain what the court judgment means. Listen as he speaks.
Well, you recall that we had a judgment from the lower court, which is the tribunal, granting the party and the candidates the privilege or opportunity to inspect election materials to enable us file our petition. This is in line with the Electoral Act, but INEC came to court to ask for variation of that order. And then the court went ahead to refuse part of it, one part of it, which says that we have the right to inspect ballot papers and all other materials, and refuse that other part, which would have given us the privilege and opportunity to inspect the records as stored in the beavers machine, on the ground that the beavers machines would have to be configured to enable INEC hold the governorship election that was scheduled for this Saturday. INEC promised in their counter affidavit that the records in the beavers will be saved on the INEC back-end server, and that the records are there, it will be untampered with, and that whenever we need to inspect it, it will be made available. The court considered the interest of the country, considered the timeline provided by INEC for the election, and the guarantee from INEC that the records in the beavers will be available and saved in their back end. It was on the basis of that the court granted that privilege to INEC. Having said this, it is pertinent to put on record that this is not the first time INEC will be making promises and not fulfill their promises. In 2019, INEC promised that they had a server, only for INEC to turn around when litigants wanted to inspect the server and said they didn't have a server. And that no doubt affected the proceedings and the weight of evidence that those litigants were having. Before the 2023 general election, INEC have severally published in their written materials, on videos, on conferences, in meetings, that results will be uploaded from the polling unit immediately after declaration of those results. You could see that INEC came out to say that they had a technical issue. The server shut down, the beavers didn't work, the server didn't work, and that gave room for the election to be manipulated across the country like you have seen. And therefore, for us, we now take INEC promises with a pinch of salt. For me, I have learned not to take INEC seriously. I don't take their promises seriously. Their promise that it will be saved on their back end. Let us hope that it will actually be made available. With the behavior of INEC, I no longer have that serious trust and confidence that INEC will actually will fulfill their promises of saving this and not actually tampering with those records, because those records are key to the successes of litigations in court and so on and so forth. And so, but as usual, the court will ordinarily and always look at the general welfare, the general interest of the country in making certain pronouncements. And I'm sure that was why the court was constrained to grant them that privilege. But you could see that immediately INEC got that order yesterday, or got that judgment yesterday, they went ahead to postpone the governorship election. So if they knew that they could shift the election, why did they not allow us inspect Beaver's machine before postponing the election? So you could see that INEC is acting on its own. INEC has become an institution that is acting the script of its paymasters. INEC is acting the script of people that is not in the interest of the people. INEC is acting arbitrarily. They are not even listening to the public, to the...
Okay. Now that they have shifted the election, will you be going back to court, because you now have about 9 days window in order to inspect that? Because now, if the court had argued because of time, time constraint, now there is time. Many will argue. Well,
the truth of the matter is that, don't forget that the time for us to file our petition is also running out. We have 21 days to file our petitions, the petition itself. And that was why we wanted to inspect materials, to give us resource materials, to be able to file our petition. And now that time is running out. And that time is not what you can amend, because it's not within the powers of INEC to amend that. It is a provision in the Electoral Act, and you have to fall in line with that timeline. So, whether they have shifted governorship election or not doesn't affect us as a party, affect our own time to be able to file our election petition. But it's very clear that INEC is out to defeat the wishes and aspirations of the people.
Now, in this backup that was talked about in court yesterday, where they talked about backing up on the cloud or archiving it, will Labour Party be having their own in-house IT involved in that, or is it going to be entirely an INEC?
It will shock you to note that since we got that order to inspect materials, INEC have not even allowed our lawyers, allow our ICT experts to inspect those materials that the court have granted us access to inspect. So our IT people will be available. We are ready even now to go on that inspection if they will allow us to inspect those materials. We are ready and we are willing. Our ICT experts are available, our lawyers are available, we are all available to carry out this inspection. Our lawyers have been resuming in INEC, our experts have been resuming in INEC since we got that order to inspect those materials, and they have denied us access to them.
The election has been shifted to the 18th. Do you think that that's going to help your party to prep more, to get more votes? Comparing that, if the election had happened today, do you think this shift in election, is it going to help you, or is it going to jeopardize?
Well, the truth of the matter is that we have deployed our materials, we have deployed our men, we have deployed our agents, and our people are all over in the field, ready for this election. Our candidates are ready. We too, we are all ready to drive this process. So whether they shift or not doesn't really have effect on what we are doing. We were ready and we're ready to go ahead with the election. People have already made up their mind as to what they want to do. You could see that Nigerians came out in their numbers to support the party, and they voted for the party. And I'm sure that they would have equally gone ahead to vote for the party, even if you call for the election today. So we were ready. It's even an additional cost to the party for shifting the election. It's additional cost to the candidates for even shifting the election. So for us, it's neither here nor there, and doesn't confer any advantage on us to have shifted the election. Like I said, INEC has become an authority of itself and working for itself. When parties have issues with uploading of the names of candidates to INEC portal, INEC insisted on their timelines, in spite of all the plea that they should allow political parties to upload names of candidates. INEC bluntly refused and said they had timeline and they were going to rigidly follow it. When we were doing uploading for polling unit agents and their server was slow and didn't work well, they gave 20th timeline, they brought it to 18, and a lot of parties could not meet up. All plea to INEC to extend the time. INEC refused and insisted that they are working on their timeline. But you could see the impunity with which they single-handedly shifted the date for governorship election from 11th to 18th. So INEC is on its own and working for itself. But I must remind them that they should realize that the purpose of the democracy is to promote the wishes and aspirations of the people. They should realize that it is taxpayers' money that is used to run INEC, and they must always refer to the people and work in the interests of the people.
This week, Monday, Nigerians saw Atiku Abubakar and the PDP chairman with some board of trustees of PDP on the street. Nigerians are expecting, what is the Labour Party doing? What are the obedience doing? Obviously, people are expecting the obedience to register their dissatisfaction, but up to now, quite unlike the obedience, nothing has actually been coming from your camp. What is it that you are doing and with your party to hold the obedience down from hitting the streets?
Well, we have appealed to all Nigerians and all our supporters to be calm, because we believe that their life is not worth to be killed for the purpose of this election. You recall that the government is callous, our people are callous. They can roll out arms and begin to shoot people on the street. You saw what happened with EndSARS, where armless Nigerians were shot and killed. Our own children were killed on the streets. Armless people. And we've seen instances, even before this election, where people, where APC and PDP talks were mobilized to start killing and shooting our people. In Lagos, when we had our rallies, you saw the numerous attacks on our people. In Ebonyi, you saw how they have attacked our people during the campaign. And so for us, we feel that if we tell our people, our supporters to be on the streets, they may be killed. And we feel that for this presidency, it doesn't worth the blood of any Nigerian. And so we have appealed to our people that we'll go through the judicial process, and by the grace of God, we reclaim our mandate. We are very sure that we'll be able to reclaim our mandate through the judicial processes. If we tell obedient to come out and they are out, they may go and mobilize their own thoughts and begin to cause mayhem in the country and destroy all parts of the country, and they will say it's the obedient. So for this and many other reasons why we are exercising restraint in putting our people on the street, we have passionately been appealing to our people to remain calm, because their life is not worth this presidency.